"Don't embarrass me at my cousin's wedding," she ordered. Then tried to sit me at a different table. "Don't embarrass me at my cousin's wedding," she ordered. Then tried to sit me at a different table so her male best friend could take my spot. I left quietly, drove home in silence, and by morning I'd already started packing my things. By the time she stumbled through the door at 2 a.m., still in her bridesmaid dress, I'd made my decision. She found me on the couch with my suitcases, and the look on her face told me she finally understood what she'd done. Hello friends, before I continue the story, please support the channel by becoming a subscriber and giving the video a like. Also, let us know in the comments where you're watching right now. I'm Marcus, 31, and I need to share what happened because even now, 6 months later, I'm still processing it all. I work as a civil engineer for a mid-sized firm in Atlanta. Steady career, decent money, nothing flashy but solid. My ex-girlfriend, let's call her Vanessa, 29, works in public relations and has always been about image, appearances, the whole package. We'd been together for 3 years, and honestly, I thought I'd found my person. Looking back now, I can see how blind love made me, but at the time, every red flag just looked like a quirk I could live with. From day one, I was the foundation she built her life on. When we met, she was between jobs, living with 2 roommates in a cramped apartment in Midtown, barely scraping by. I didn't hesitate to help her get back on her feet, covering dinners, fronting her rent a couple times when she came up short. She landed a PR assistant role about 4 months in, and I was genuinely proud of her. I'd spent hours helping her prep for interviews, reviewing her portfolio, even buying her a new laptop when hers died right before a big presentation. That's just what you do when you love someone, right? I made sacrifices without keeping score, at least that's what I told myself. The year before, my college roommates organized a reunion trip to New Orleans, something we'd been planning for months. I canceled 2 days before because Vanessa had a work crisis, some event that fell apart and needed her there all weekend for damage control. She cried on the phone, saying she couldn't handle it alone, that she needed me. So I stayed, helped her coordinate vendors, drove supplies across town at midnight, missed seeing my boys. She thanked me with takeout and a promise we'd do something special later, but that never materialized. We talked about forever in those abstract ways couples do. Marriage wasn't on the immediate horizon, but it was understood, you know? I'd mentioned rings casually. She'd talk about what kind of wedding she wanted, intimate garden ceremony, elegant reception, all Pinterest perfect. Vanessa always said I was her anchor, the one steady thing in her chaotic world. "Marcus, you keep me grounded," she'd whisper after we'd survive another one of her work dramas. But stability, I learned, can be confused with boring when someone's chasing excitement. The complications started subtly, introduced through her best friend from Howard University, a guy named Deandre. He was everything I wasn't: loud, charismatic, always the center of attention at any gathering we attended. Vanessa insisted they were purely platonic, that he was like a brother, but the way she'd light up when his name appeared on her phone screen told a different story. They'd been friends for 7 years, since sophomore year, and according to her, I was being insecure for questioning their closeness. I tried to be the understanding boyfriend, to trust her word, but something in my gut kept twisting. The comparisons crept in like slow poison. After parties, she'd mention how Deandre had everyone laughing with his stories about his job in sports marketing. "He's just so good with people, Marcus. You should take notes." Or she'd sigh when I'd suggest a quiet night in. "Deandre's always doing something exciting. Last weekend he went skydiving." It was never outright cruel, just these little jabs that accumulated. I'd brush them off, tell myself she didn't mean anything by it, that couples sometimes get on each other's nerves. Then there was her social media presence, which told its own story. Pictures of her and Deandre at rooftop bars, at art galleries, at brunch spots I'd never been invited to. Captions like "Adventures with my day one" or "This guy gets me" with heart emojis. Meanwhile, photos of us were rare, tucked away in her stories where they'd disappear after 24 hours. I mentioned it once, trying to keep my tone light, and she accused me of being controlling. "Not everything is about you, Marcus. Deandre's been in my life longer than you have." That stung more than I wanted to admit. The wedding invitation came in March, her cousin Brittany's big day, set for a Saturday in late May. Vanessa was thrilled, had been talking about it for months, even got chosen as a bridesmaid. It was going to be at this beautiful venue in Savannah, historic mansion with sprawling gardens, the kind of place that shows up in Southern living. I was looking forward to it honestly, a weekend away, chance to dress up, dance with my girl. I even took her shopping for a gift, spent $300 on something from the registry without blinking. As the date approached, Vanessa's behavior shifted in ways I couldn't quite pin down. She became obsessive about details, not just her bridesmaid duties, but about how I'd present myself. You need a fresh haircut, Marcus. And that navy suit, get it tailored again. It's looking loose. She micromanaged my entire outfit down to my shoes and pocket square. I thought it was just wedding jitters, her wanting everything perfect for her family. Looking back, she was already worried about how I'd fit into her narrative. The week before, she dropped hints that made my stomach turn. Deandre's going to be there, you know. Brittany invited him since he's close with our whole family. Fine, whatever, I could handle being civil for a weekend. But then she'd add these little comments. He's bringing so much energy. Everyone's excited to see him, like she was preparing me for something. I should have pressed her then, demanded to know what she was really thinking, but I just nodded along. The morning of the wedding, we drove down together in my car, her dress hanging in the back. She was glued to her phone the entire 2-hour drive, texting constantly and giggling. When I asked who she was talking to, she snapped, "Just the bridesmaids chat, Marcus." God. But I caught a glimpse of her screen at a red light, saw Deandre's name, saw the string of emojis and inside jokes. The knot in my stomach tightened, but I kept my mouth shut and my eyes on the road. We checked into the hotel, got ready in separate spaces since she had bridesmaid photos. I took my time with my suit, made sure everything was sharp because despite the weirdness, I wanted to make her proud. Got a fresh shave at the hotel barber, even splurged on a shoe shine. When I met her before the ceremony, she barely looked at me, just did a quick up and down glance. "You look fine. Let's go." No compliment, no warmth, just functional assessment. The ceremony itself was beautiful. Everything Brittany had dreamed of from what Vanessa had told me. Outdoor setting under massive oak trees dripping with Spanish moss, string quartet playing, flowers everywhere. I sat in the third row on the bride's side, watching Vanessa in her burgundy bridesmaid dress, looking stunning. She caught my eye once during the vows, but her expression was blank, like I was just another guest. That's when the first real crack appeared in my denial. The cocktail hour started, and I was making small talk with Vanessa's aunt when she found me. She had that look on her face, the one she got when she'd already decided something and was just informing me. She pulled me aside near the bar, away from the clusters of guests mingling. Her voice had that edge, the one that sounded sweet but carried steel underneath. "Marcus, we need to talk real quick about tonight." "What's up, baby?" I asked, still trying to keep things light and normal. She glanced around, making sure no one was in earshot, then fixed me with this look. It was condescending, like a teacher about to scold a student who'd disappointed her. "Listen, this is really important to my family, and I need you to just not embarrass me tonight, okay?" The words hit me like a slap, but I kept my face neutral. "Embarrass you how?" I asked, my voice careful and measured. She sighed, like I was being difficult by simply asking for clarification. "You know what I mean. Your work stories about engineering projects and infrastructure, Marcus, it's not exactly party conversation." She said it like my career was something shameful, something to hide. "Deandre's here, and he's so good at working a room, keeping things fun and light." I felt something cold settle in my chest, but I needed to hear her say it. "So what are you asking me to do, Vanessa?" She touched my arm, patronizing, like she was doing me a favor. "Just don't monopolize conversations with my aunts and uncles, okay? Let Deandre take the lead if we're all together." She said it so casually, like she was asking me to pass the salt. "He's got these amazing stories from his work, and people really connect with him." "I'm your boyfriend," I said quietly, the reality of what she was implying starting to crystallize. She rolled her eyes, actually rolled them right there in front of me. I know that, Marcus. But this isn't about us right now. Her tone was clipped, impatient. It's about my family having a good time and me not having to worry about you being too quiet in the corner. The reception hall was stunning. I'll give them that much. Round tables with white linens, centerpieces of hydrangeas and roses, Edison bulbs strung across the ceiling. The head table was positioned front and center, and I found our assigned seats easily. Table 3, right near the dance floor with Vanessa's parents, her younger sister, and a couple of aunts. Prime real estate in the seating chart, a place of honor for immediate family and their significant others. I was chatting with her father about the Braves season when Vanessa appeared again. This time Deandre was right behind her, all smiles in his perfectly fitted charcoal suit. He gave me a nod, one of those half handshake, half hug things guys do. Marcus, my man, good to see you. I returned it mechanically, already sensing something was off. Vanessa had that determined look again, the one that meant she'd made up her mind. So there's been a little situation with the seating, she started, her voice sugary but firm. My pulse quickened, instinct kicking in before my brain caught up. Deandre was supposed to be at table 12, way in the back by the DJ booth. She laughed lightly, like this was all just a silly mix-up. That's basically Siberia, and I feel terrible because he's been such a big part of our family. I looked from her to Deandre, who had the decency to look slightly uncomfortable. Okay, so what are you saying? I asked, though I already knew. Vanessa touched my shoulder, that same patronizing gesture from earlier. Would you mind switching with him? Just for dinner. She said it like it was nothing, like she was asking me to swap desserts. He'd fit in so much better at this table with all the storytelling, and you'd probably be more comfortable somewhere quieter anyway. The implications crashed over me like a wave. She wanted to publicly demote me, her boyfriend of 3 years, to seat her male best friend with her family. At her cousin's wedding, in front of everyone who knew us as a couple. Table 12 was in the back corner, filled with distant relatives and random plus ones. It was a statement, intentional or not, about where I ranked in her priorities. Vanessa, that's our table, I said slowly, keeping my voice low. I'm your boyfriend, and this is your family. She sighed, that exasperated sound she made when she thought I was being unreasonable. Marcus, don't make this a thing right now. Her eyes flashed warning, like I was the one causing drama. It's just seating arrangements. It's not that deep. It is that deep, I countered, feeling my resolve harden. You're asking me to give up my seat so Deandre can sit with your family instead. I glanced at him, and he was looking away now, suddenly very interested in the floral arrangements. Vanessa stepped closer, her voice dropping to an urgent whisper. Think about it practically. Deandre's more outgoing, he'll keep the conversation flowing, and you know how you get at these things. How I get, I repeated, anger starting to simmer beneath my calm exterior. She had the audacity to look annoyed that I wasn't just going along with it. You're introverted, Marcus. You get quiet and withdrawn at big social events. She said it like a diagnosis, a flaw that needed accommodation. Deandre's going through a tough time with his recent breakup, and being with family, even if it's mine, would help him. So now she was weaponizing his personal life to justify sidelining me. I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw someone I didn't recognize anymore. The woman I'd sacrificed for, supported through every crisis, held when she cried. This stranger in a burgundy dress was asking me to voluntarily humiliate myself. If that's what you want, I said quietly, my decision crystallizing in that moment, then you too enjoy the evening. Her face shifted, confusion replacing the demanding expression. What do you mean? I straightened my jacket, keeping my movements calm and deliberate. I mean exactly what I said, Vanessa. My voice was steady, no anger, no pleading, just finality. If Deandre fits better at your family table than I do, then clearly I don't belong here at all. Marcus, don't be dramatic, she hissed, glancing around to see if anyone was watching. But I was already stepping back, already mentally checking out of this relationship. This is my cousin's wedding. You can't just leave. She reached for my arm, but I moved away smoothly. I can and I am, I said simply. Enjoy your night with your real priority. I walked through the reception hall without looking back, ignoring the curious glances from guests. The fury and hurt would come later, I knew, but in that moment I felt an odd sense of clarity. My footsteps echoed on the marble floor of the venue's lobby, and the spring air hit my face as I pushed through the doors. The parking lot was half full, my car waiting where I'd parked it that morning. By the time I reached my sedan, my phone was already vibrating. I pulled it out, saw Vanessa's name flashing, and sent it to voicemail. Started the engine, adjusted the mirrors, and pulled out of the lot like I was leaving for a normal drive. The highway stretched ahead, twilight settling over Georgia, and I drove in complete silence. No music, no podcasts, just the hum of the road and my thoughts spiraling. The 2-hour drive back to Atlanta felt like 2 minutes and 2 days simultaneously. My mind replayed every moment, her condescending tone, the casual cruelty of her request, the way Deandre had just stood there. Had they planned this together, or was she really that oblivious to how it would feel? Either option painted an ugly picture, one I'd been willfully ignoring for months. I checked my phone at a rest stop about halfway home. 16 missed calls, all from Vanessa, plus a string of text messages. I scrolled through them, watching her emotional progression in real time. The first ones were angry. You're being ridiculous. Get back here. Then confusion. I don't understand why you're so mad. Then panic. People are asking where you went. This is embarrassing. Finally, desperation. Please call me. We need to talk. I'm sorry. 6 voicemails waited, and against my better judgment, I listened. The first was her trying to sound reasonable, explaining that I'd misunderstood, that it wasn't personal. The second had more edge, accusing me of ruining her cousin's day with my insecurity. The third started with apologies, saying she hadn't meant to hurt me. The fourth was tears, genuine-sounding sobs about how she messed up. The fifth was panic, worried I'd been in an accident. The sixth was full-blown begging, promising we'd talk it all out when she got home. I deleted every single one without responding. There was nothing to say, nothing that would change what I now understood clearly. Vanessa had shown me exactly where I stood in her life, and I was done pretending that foundation meant the same thing as priority. I pulled back onto the highway and finished the drive home. Our apartment, the one I'd been paying the majority of for the past 2 years, felt different when I walked in. It was after 10 p.m., and the space was quiet and dark. I flipped on the lights and started methodically packing, not in anger, but with purpose. Clothes first, then toiletries, then my personal items from around the living room. I worked steadily for 3 hours, filling suitcases and duffel bags. By 1 a.m., I had everything essential separated from her stuff. The lease was in both our names, but I'd been covering 70% of the rent since she was building her savings. I drafted a text to my landlord, explaining I'd be moving out and asking about the process. Then I called my boy Travis, woke him up, but he answered anyway. Mark? What's wrong, man? His voice was groggy but concerned. I need a place to crash for a week or 2, I told him, explaining the situation in brief strokes. Travis didn't hesitate, didn't ask questions beyond the basics. Got the spare room ready whenever you need it, brother. That's real friendship right there, no judgment, just support. I told him I'd be there in 30 minutes and started loading my car. I was sitting on the couch with my suitcases, waiting, when Vanessa came through the door. It was 2:17 a.m., and she was still in her bridesmaid dress, mascara smudged, heels in her hand. She stopped dead when she saw me and the bags, her mouth falling open. Marcus, what are you doing? Her voice was small, afraid in a way I'd never heard before. What does it look like? I asked calmly, standing up. She dropped her heels and rushed toward me, hands reaching out. Baby, please, let's just talk about this. I stepped back, maintaining distance. There's nothing to talk about, Vanessa. My voice was even measured, drained of emotion. You made yourself very clear tonight. I didn't mean it like that, she insisted, tears already streaming down her face. I was stressed about the wedding and I wasn't thinking straight. Her hands were shaking, reaching for mine. Deandre doesn't mean anything, I promise. I chose wrong. I see that now. But her words felt hollow, scripted, like she was saying what she thought would work. You asked me to give up my seat at your family table so another man could take my place, I said flatly. She flinched at the bluntness, but I wasn't done. You told me not to embarrass you with my boring job and my quiet personality. Each word was a nail in the coffin. You compared me to him all night, all month, probably all year if I'm being honest. She was full-on sobbing now, makeup running, reaching for me desperately. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Her voice cracked, pleading. Please don't leave like this. We've been together 3 years. She stumbled over her words, frantic. I love you, Marcus. I need you. You're my rock, remember? I remember being your safety net, I corrected, picking up my bags. I remember being the boring, stable guy you kept around while you chased excitement with Deandre. She shook her head violently, trying to deny it. I'm done being convenient, Vanessa. I walked toward the door, and she grabbed my arm, desperate. I'll do anything, please. I'll cut Deandre off completely. I'll fix this. It's not about him, I told her, gently removing her hand from my sleeve. It's about how you see me, how you value me. I met her eyes, saw the panic there. And tonight you showed me exactly what I'm worth to you. She collapsed against the doorframe, sliding down to sit on the floor. Please don't go, please, we can work through this. I stepped over her carefully, not cruel but final. I'll be back for the rest of my stuff when you're at work. My voice was tired now, the adrenaline wearing off. Don't contact me, Vanessa. I closed the door on her sobbing, and even though it hurt, even though part of me wanted to turn back, I kept walking. Travis's guest room became my sanctuary for the next 2 weeks while I figured things out. The aftermath came in waves, starting with her relentless attempts to reach me. I'd blocked her number by the second day, but she found workarounds like she was on a mission. Emails appeared in my inbox, long rambling messages about how she'd realized her mistakes. Social media DMs from accounts I didn't recognize, all clearly her. She even sent a letter to Travis's apartment, which he handed me with a raised eyebrow and didn't push when I tossed it unopened. Her friends mobilized like a small army, probably at her request. Her girl Jasmine, who I'd met exactly 4 times, texted me, Marcus, Vanessa is devastated. She knows she messed up bad, but everyone deserves a second chance. I didn't respond. Her coworker Nicole called, tried to play mediator. Look, I know it's complicated, but she really does love you. She's been crying at work every day. I told her politely that it wasn't her business and hung up. Then her family got involved, which honestly surprised me. Her mother, Mrs. Patterson, called from her cell one afternoon while I was at work. I stepped out to take it, thinking maybe something was seriously wrong. Marcus, sweetheart, what's going on? Her tone was concerned, motherly even. Vanessa told me you two had a fight at the wedding. Did she tell you what the fight was about? I asked, curious how she'd spun it. There was a pause, a long enough one to tell me the story had been sanitized. She said there was confusion about seating and you got upset. Mrs. Patterson's voice was gentle but probing. I know my daughter can be dramatic sometimes, but walking out on her like that seems extreme. I laid it out plainly, no emotion, just facts. She asked me to give up my seat at your family table so Deandre could sit there instead. Another pause, longer this time. She told me not to embarrass her with my boring career and personality. I heard her sharp intake of breath. Then she said Deandre would be a better fit with your family than I would. She said that. Mrs. Patterson's voice had changed, disbelief creeping in. I confirmed every detail, kept my tone respectful but firm. I'm not the villain here, ma'am, despite what she might have told you. There was muffled conversation on her end, like she'd covered the phone to talk to someone. Marcus, I didn't know it was like that. Her voice was quieter now, almost apologetic. That's not how she explained it. I figured, I said simply, not rubbing it in. We talked for a few more minutes, her asking if I was really done. me confirming that I was. She didn't push, didn't guilt me, just sighed heavily. I'm sorry she treated you that way. That acknowledgement meant something, validation that I wasn't crazy for walking away. You've been good to her, and she didn't appreciate it. Vanessa's cousin Brittany, the bride herself, reached out next via Instagram. I almost didn't open it, but curiosity won. Marcus, I heard what happened from my mom. Vanessa's side of the story didn't add up, so I asked around. Her message was thoughtful, measured. I'm so sorry my wedding was where this all blew up. You didn't deserve that treatment, and honestly, I'm disappointed in my cousin. That message actually helped, knowing that people who'd witnessed it weren't all buying Vanessa's version. Brittany added, for what it's worth, Deandre left early that night too, right after you did. Told Vanessa he felt weird about the whole thing. Interesting, so even he had recognized the line that was crossed. She spent most of the reception crying in the bathroom, and it kind of brought down the vibe. Work became my refuge, throwing myself into a major infrastructure project. My boss noticed the extra hours and pulled me aside one day. Everything okay, Marcus? You're here before me and leaving after me. I gave him the abbreviated version, relationship ended, needed the distraction. He nodded, understanding. Channel it into the work, but don't forget to take care of yourself too. I started hitting the gym regularly, something I'd let slip during the relationship. Vanessa had always wanted us time in the evenings, which meant her shows, her schedule, her preferences. Now I had a routine: work, gym, meal prep, sleep. The physical exertion helped clear my head, and I started seeing changes quickly. Lost the relationship weight I'd put on. Felt stronger, sharper. About 3 weeks in, I was ready to get my remaining things from the apartment. I'd coordinated with Vanessa via email, cold and logistical, telling her I'd come by on a Tuesday afternoon when she'd be at work. She tried to bargain, asking if we could talk when I came. No conversation necessary. I'll leave my key and be gone within an hour. She didn't respond to that. Tuesday came and I showed up with Travis and my cousin Jerome as backup. We loaded boxes efficiently, my books, kitchen stuff I'd bought, furniture that was mine. The apartment looked hollow after we finished, stripped of my presence. I felt nothing standing there. No nostalgia, no regret, just ready to move on. I left my key on the kitchen counter and walked out. That night, Vanessa broke her silence with a barrage of texts from a new number. I came home and saw everything gone, and I lost it. You really took everything, even the coffee maker we picked out together. She was spiraling. I could tell from the rambling nature of the messages. How can you just erase 3 years like this? Like I meant nothing? I typed out one response and sent it. You erased 3 years when you prioritized another man over me at a family event. I'm just accepting what you showed me. Please stop contacting me. Then I blocked that number too. It was harsh maybe, but necessary, like ripping off a bandage instead of peeling it slowly. The real shift came about a month after the wedding when mutual friends started reporting back. I hadn't asked for updates, but people talk, and I guess they felt I should know. My boy Chris, who'd been friends with both of us, gave me the rundown one night over beers. Man, Vanessa's not doing good. That's not my problem anymore, I said, meaning it. Chris nodded, sipping his drink. I know, and I'm not saying you should care, but damn. He told me she'd been posting cryptic sad quotes on social media, the kind that scream, I'm going through it. Her work performance had tanked apparently, missed deadlines on a major campaign. Her boss put her on a performance improvement plan from what I heard. Then he dropped the real bomb. She and Deandre had a massive falling out. I raised an eyebrow, genuinely surprised. Chris continued. Apparently after the wedding, she started leaning on him hard, like emotionally dumping all her regrets about you. Deandre, being who he was, had tried to be supportive at first. But she wanted more, started hinting that maybe they should try dating since you were out of the picture. Let me guess, I said, already seeing where this was headed. He wasn't interested. Chris laughed bitterly. Not even a little. He told her straight up that he valued their friendship but had never seen her that way. According to Chris, Vanessa hadn't taken it well. She accused him of leading her on, of encouraging her feelings, basically blamed him for your breakup. The irony was almost poetic. She'd sacrificed our relationship for a fantasy that never existed. Deandre told her she needed to take responsibility for her own choices, Chris added. She blew up, sent him some nasty texts, and he blocked her. So she'd lost me and her supposed best friend in one move. Her family's not happy with her either, from what Brittany told my girl. I processed all this information with a strange detachment. Part of me, the petty part, felt vindicated. But mostly I just felt sad for who she was. Someone so caught up in appearances and excitement that she'd torched something real. That's rough, I said to Chris, and I meant it without wanting to fix it. But she made her choices. You doing okay though? Chris asked, genuine concern in his eyes. I nodded, and for the first time in weeks I smiled. Better than okay, actually. It was true. I'd moved into my own place, a nice one-bedroom in a better part of town. Work was going great, that promotion I'd been working toward came through. I was living my life on my terms, no compromises, no walking on eggshells. About 6 weeks post-wedding, I did something I hadn't done in years. I went on a date, met a woman named Simone through a professional networking event. She worked in urban planning, and we'd struck up a conversation about sustainable development. Smart, funny, beautiful, and when she suggested coffee, I said yes. Nothing serious yet, just testing the waters. But it felt good to connect with someone who appreciated my boring career. That date led to another, then another, and by the third one, I realized I was genuinely enjoying myself. Simone asked intelligent questions, listened when I talked about work, shared her own passions without diminishing mine. We laughed easily, conversation flowed naturally, and there was no comparison to anyone else. You seem really content, she observed over dinner one night, like you're comfortable in your own skin. I am, I told her honestly. Took me a while to get here, but yeah. She smiled, reaching across the table to touch my hand. Whatever you went through to get to this place, I'm glad you did. We didn't need to discuss my ex or her past relationships. We were just two people enjoying each other's company, building something fresh without baggage. Meanwhile, the Vanessa updates continued trickling in through the grapevine, though I'd stopped asking. She'd apparently moved back in with her parents after struggling with rent. Her social media went dark for a while, then resurfaced with vague posts about learning hard lessons and growing through pain. Friends said she'd gained weight, stopped going out, basically withdrew from her social circle. Her career took hits too. That performance plan at work hadn't gone well, and she'd been let go from her PR firm. Last I heard through Chris, she was doing freelance social media management, scraping by. Her family had stopped enabling her victim narrative after Mrs. Patterson dug into what really happened. Brittany had unfollowed her apparently, still upset about the wedding drama. The most satisfying update came about 3 months after everything imploded. I ran into Deandre randomly at a Falcons game of all places. We were both there with different groups, spotted each other in the concession line. He approached cautiously, hand extended. Marcus, man, can we talk for a second? I shook his hand, curious where this was going. He pulled me aside, away from the crowds. I owe you an apology. His voice was sincere, none of that performative charm. That whole seating thing at the wedding, I should have shut it down immediately. He looked genuinely remorseful. I knew it was wrong, but I went along with it because Vanessa asked, and that wasn't cool. Appreciate you saying that, I told him, surprised by the maturity. He continued, explaining that he'd had time to reflect after Vanessa's meltdown. She tried to make me the villain in your breakup, said I'd encouraged her feelings. He shook his head. Man, I never saw her that way, and I told her that from day one. But Vanessa had built up a fantasy, convinced herself their friendship was more. When I rejected her, she lost it, Deandre said, looking tired. Sent me messages saying I'd ruined her life, that if I'd just been honest about my feelings, she wouldn't have lost you. He'd blocked her eventually, realizing the friendship was toxic. I feel bad for how things went down, but I also learned I was enabling her by always being available. We talked for a few more minutes, clearing the air completely. You seem good though, he observed. noting my improved physique and general demeanor. Better than good, I corrected with a smile. I'm exactly where I need to be. We parted on good terms. No lingering animosity, just two guys who'd been caught in someone else's drama. Life continued moving forward in the best possible way. That promotion at work came with new responsibilities, leading a team on a major city infrastructure overhaul. It was challenging and fulfilling, exactly the kind of project I'd been working toward. My boss pulled me aside after a successful presentation to city council. "Marcus, you're killing it. This is the kind of work that makes careers." Simone and I became official after about 2 months of dating, taking it slow but steady. She met my friends, I met hers, and everything felt natural and healthy. No games, no comparisons, just two adults building something together. She appreciated my stability, called it refreshing instead of boring. "You know what you want and you go after it quietly," she told me one night. "That's attractive." I introduced her to my family during a Sunday dinner, and my mom pulled me aside afterward. "She's lovely, Marcus. And you look happy, really happy." Mom had met Vanessa twice and had never warmed to her, though she'd been too polite to say so at the time. "This one sees you," Mom added, squeezing my hand. "Don't let this one go." For months after the wedding disaster, I got an email from Vanessa. It came to my work account, which she shouldn't have had, but clearly, she'd hunted it down. The subject line read, "Please read. I'm sorry." I almost deleted it without opening but decided to see what she had to say. It was long, rambling, full of apologies and self-flagellation. She detailed everything that had gone wrong in her life since our breakup. Lost her job, lost Deandre's friendship, lost respect from her family, gained weight and depression. "I know I have no right to ask for anything from you," she wrote, "but I need you to know that I understand now what I threw away." She called me the best thing that ever happened to her. Said she'd been chasing excitement when she had everything she needed. The email continued for paragraphs, explaining that therapy had helped her see her patterns. "My therapist says I self-sabotage when things get too stable because I'm afraid of being boring like my parents." She'd apparently worked through childhood issues, recognized her need for external validation. "I'm not asking you to take me back," she claimed, though I suspected that was exactly what she wanted. "I just need you to know I'm sorry." I read it twice, letting her words sink in. There was growth there, genuine reflection, but it didn't change anything. People can be sorry and still be wrong for you. I sat with it for a day, debating whether to respond at all. Finally, I typed out a brief reply. "Vanessa, I appreciate the apology and I'm glad you're getting help. I hope you find peace and learn to value stability. But my life has moved on, and I need you to respect that." Her response came within minutes. "I understand. I hope you're happy, Marcus. You deserve it." That was it, no begging, no drama, just acceptance. I felt closure click into place, like a door finally shutting completely. I didn't block her work email, but I also didn't expect to hear from her again. That chapter was truly finished. Update. It's been nearly 8 months since that wedding, and life is almost unrecognizable in the best way. Simone and I are talking about moving in together, taking that next step when her lease ends. Work continues to thrive. I just got another raise and am being considered for a senior project manager position. My fitness journey has me in the best shape of my life, running 5 Burmese chots and thinking about a half marathon. Last I heard through the grapevine, Vanessa's doing better too. Not my concern, but I don't wish her ill. She's apparently in a new relationship with someone from her therapy group, trying to build healthier patterns. Good for her, genuinely. We all deserve to learn from our mistakes and grow. Her journey just doesn't involve me anymore, and I'm completely at peace with that. The wedding that almost broke me became the catalyst for my best life. Walking away with dignity, refusing to accept being someone's backup plan, that choice saved me. Sometimes the trash takes itself out, and sometimes you have to be strong enough to walk away from what's hurting you. I did both, and I've never looked back with regret. Thank you for watching all the way through. There's another story to your left screen. You'll enjoy it more than this one.